Hey guys, what's up? You don't want to get hacked, so let's get started by securing your WordPress website. And in this video, we will be securing my latest website, which you can see in this tutorial, which shows you how to exactly create this awesome website. So be sure to check that out. So first we're going to log into the dashboard, and then you go to Plugins, Add New. Because the only plugin we will need is this one, iThemes Security. Just press enter. And this is a completely free plugin. They have a pro version, but from now, the free version is perfect. Press install now, and then we press activate. Now our plugin has been activated. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to press this settings button right there. Do you have a web shop? Do you have a network website with a forum, for example? Do you have a non-profit website with donations? Do you have a blog with a lot of interaction with comments? Do you have a portfolio just with a lot of pictures, for example? Or do you have a brochure website? A simple website to promote your business? Well, choose the one that fits you. Why? Well, because there are different features going to be enabled if you choose a different one. Because for e-commerce, we need different security settings than for a brochure. We are now going to use the brochure website. Simple website to promote your business. We are setting the website up for ourselves. And yes, I want to enforce a password policy. Why is this? Well, the entire security of your website could be compromised with just a weak password. So guys, this is really important. Use a strong password. Press next. The next step is enabling two-factor authentication. This is powerful. If you enable this combined with your strong password, then your website is pretty much unhackable through the front gate. So if you enable this, let's push on this button, then you need an app on your mobile phone or a text message or anything else that will prevent users from logging in without using a second authenticator factor. This is great. So we're going to enable this and we're going to press next. You want to keep this enabled. This is just when people try to log in, they have guessed your username right and they're trying to log in by guessing your password. Well, it's pretty hard if they don't have your mobile phone with authentication. It's pretty much impossible. But if they're trying to do so, they will be locked out when they try 5 or 6 times. Also, network brute force protection is all IP addresses will be scanned throughout a database, so they know exactly who to block and who not. So press next on this one. And if you want to security check pro, just what I said, enable this one because this is a powerful feature. Press next. Now this is useful if you have different authors on your website. If you're the only one, just press default. If you are the only one using your website, you can press skip user groups. If you're not the only one and you have multiple people working on your website, you can actually configure this per user. So let's say if you're the administrator and you have a couple of editors or authors, then you don't want the editors and the authors to change the iThemes security settings. So you can disable the global settings and a security dashboard for that group of people. It is very, very useful. We don't have different user groups on this website, so you can press skip user groups if you don't have other people working on your website. Press recommended configure site. This is the place where you can add your IP address to WordPress security, so you will be never blocked out of your website. This is very useful. Just press add my current IP to the authored host list. For me, this is not going to do anything because I use a VPN, so nobody can track what I'm doing and I have security tunnels set up. So this changes for me every day. We're going to change IP detection to security check scan recommended. And we're gonna press next. We want the network brute force protection, so we have to fill out our email address, the@wpressdoctor.com. And if you want to receive email updates every week, well, I don't, but if you want, just enable this one and press next. Email notifications are very important, so enter your email address. I only want that I receive those emails. If you have more administrators on your website, don't click this box because they will all receive the daily digest and they will receive all the mails every single day. We're gonna disable it because it drives me actually nuts how many hackers, how many bots has been disallowed and blocked from the website. So just select the users you want to receive the emails and press continue. This is just an overview of what we have already set up. You cannot change anything here, so press secure site. And now it says our site has been secured, so press finish. Good work. Now you go back to settings, because there are a couple of things we still need to configure before we are completely secured. So let's go over all these settings one by one to set up your security once and for all. So the two-factor authentication, if you press on the edit settings, you can change the method of how you can secure your login with two-factor authentication. You can use all methods, of course, you can do all except email or select the methods manually. Now you can change that you only want to use the mobile app, email or backup codes. Well, this is user independent, so they all can choose which one they want. If you only want to use mobile app for your users, then just only select the mobile app. For example, it's the most secure way. So we're going to set this up later on, so just press save right here. Let's get back to the settings using features right there. All right, we have the logouts. This is the way to ban users. Press on edit settings. You can change the ban list that will enable banned IPs in the service configuration files. There are a limit of 100 IPs. That is more than enough, so we can just leave it right there. Local brute force, now this is a very powerful feature. I always enable this one, automatically ban admin user, because automatic bots will always try to log in using the username admin. However, if that's your username, you need to change it right now. Change your username. If you are unable to change it because there is only one and it is admin and you can't change your username, then you just need to add a new user, make it an administrator, and use another email or your own email. Just create a new user with a different username, because the username admin is the worst username you can ever have on a website. This is the max login attempts per host. I change always this to 3 times. So you get 3 times and then you're out. The max login attempts per user, I keep this on 5. And the minutes to remember a bad login, I always change this to 10 minutes. So if you are locked out after 10 minutes, you can try again. Press save. And then we go to network brute force. We have already banned reported APIs. We have a API key, which is great. All right, let's get back to our features. And we were at the logouts that goes to site check. This is a powerful feature that lets you constantly monitor the file changes on your website. Because when hackers infiltrate your system, they are going to change different files in your WordPress installation. And that way they can easily change different scripts to add malicious code to your website. So people download Trojan horses, or they get redirected to poker websites or porno websites or pill websites. It repeats, and you don't want it. However, the file change monitor is really thorough. That means every time you update something, you will get an email because files has been changed. Even when the cache has been emptied, you will be notified that certain files has been changed. If you want to enable this one, you can just press enable it, and then you can press this gear icon to whitelist certain files and folders. For example, your caching files folders should not be included into the file change monitor. For example, if we want that, we go to WordPress content, we go to cache, and then the cache file, we will press select. So now WP content/cache will not be actively monitored. And also with ET cache from Divi, we have to whitelist this one to exclude it. Let's go any further. And also the uploads ET temp, you don't want that one included. All right, after you have added this one, press save, and now we have a file change monitor set up correctly. Then we go back to our features, and we were with the site check. All right, that's all good. Let's go to utilities. Enforce SSL. Enforce all connections are made through SSL TLS. Enable this one. This is important. If you use SSL, and I strongly recommend you do, then enable this one. Your database backups, this one, we're going to edit these settings. So now you have everyday backups of your database. However, I am still convinced that your hosting company should do your backups from your files, your emails, and your database. But better to be safe than sorry. So if you want this to be emailed to you, then press schedule database backups and use the backup interval. Well, you can do 3 days between them, or you can do 7 days. The normal security guys would say, no, you need every single day, you need one backup. I totally agree, but if your website doesn't change that much, then maybe you should put it on 7. It's completely up to you. I prefer to have it saved locally and email it to you, because when you have it in your email, it is disconnected from your WordPress website. So if your website got hacked, you always got backups in your email and not only saved on your hosting, because when they infiltrate your website, well, they are in and they're going to really screw up your website and your database. Now, the number of backups to retain, I think 30 backups is the max. That would be great. If you don't visit your website often or not every once in a month, then I should suggest you change this to 360. So you have backups for the entire year of your database, which is very important. This is all good, so let's press save. And then we go back to features and utilities, and we were at the database backups, that's all right. And the security check pro is enabled, so that's awesome. All right, then we go to the next step, user groups. Well, I've already explained this. If you're the only one, just leave it like this. If you have multiple people on your website, you can change this per role. Really useful. Let's go to configure. The global settings allow iThemes security to write to your files. This is important because or else you have to do the changes manually, and that is a bit of a hassle. All right, 15 minutes to lockout. I would say we change this to 10 minutes. And how many days will a lockout will be remembered? I think this is perfect. Ban, repeat, offender. Of course, if you are 3 times banned in a row, then you get banned permanently. This is great. Just keep it on 3. This is awesome. The lockout message is just an error. You have been locked out due to too many invalid login attempts. You can change this, of course, to anything you want. Your IP address has been flagged as a threat. I would suggest you remove the iThemes security network, as that is a security risk, because now they know which plugin you are using for your security. So remove that one. Authorized host, we have already enabled that. This is your own IP address. Database logs, you can see whatever happened on your website. You can change this to file only, database only, or both. I would suggest you use database only. IP detection, we already did that. The security menu in the admin bar, they're talking about this little thing. It is useful when some things happen that you want to know, but it's also pretty annoying that with every new feature you get a message right up there, and it is a bit of, well, it's just what you prefer. I would suggest you press high security menu, press save, and then we go to login security right there. And then actually the login security, we already have done this. Lockouts, we have already done this. Site check, we've already done it. And the utilities, we've already done that. So it is pretty awesome. Let's go to notifications. In the notifications, you will see, let's press on security digest. If this is enabled, you will get every single day an email with what is happening to your website. In the beginning, it's interesting. After a week, you are saying, stop emailing. So I would suggest you disable this one and press save all. Site lockouts, notifications. This is really annoying to see all those bots trying to get into your website and getting all those emails. If you want to receive them, keep it enabled. It is your choice. Database backup. Where does it will be sent to? It will be sent automatically to the email of the website owner, that is in this case dv-doctor.com. If you don't want to use this email address, change it to another one. Let's go to file change. Here you get emails when your files has been changed. You can enable this one. Let's go to two-factor email. Here you can change what the email is when you want to use the two-factor authentication with only email. And this is the mail that's been sent through you. Hi, and then your name. Click the button to continue or manually enter this code below to finish logging in. You can customize this, change this, whatever you want. I think this is a good email, so we just leave it right there. And yes, the two-factor email confirmation. This is very important if you want to use it for your email, because this is the setup for the two-factor. I don't know why they have this where you can disable it, but I think this is a pretty useful email, so just leave it in right there. All right, that was all the normal settings. Let's go to the advanced settings right here. At the advanced, we have some important tweaks to be made to your WordPress installation. For example, the system tweaks. You want to have these system files protected. You want to disable directory browsing. This is amazing, important stuff. Disable PHP executive in uploads, in plugins, in themes. You can read all about it, what it does on this site. I don't need to read it out loud because you guys know. If you go to WordPress tweaks, then this is an important one that you sometimes want to change. Disable file editor. This means if you go to appearance, now the theme editor has been removed from this menu. If you ever need it because you need to add some custom snippets or anything, you have to go into advanced WordPress tweaks and disable the check mark. And now if you press save, and we reload this page. Now we go to appearance and now we have the theme editor back in its place, as you can see. Know where it is, remind it, because you will not find it anywhere if this is enabled. It's a powerful feature, so you should leave this on. All right, the API access, XML RPC, well, I would say you disable this one because this is the most common way how hackers find your username and try to log in automatically using different bots. However, there is a drawback to this. Some plugins won't work when this system is turned off. For example, the Jetpack plugin, I never use it because I think it's bloated with all kind of stuff you never need in your website. And there are some different other apps if you want to use your mobile app to change your WordPress website using your mobile. In all my years of website building, I never actually used the XML RPC function because, well, I just don't use it. So this is great, just use disable. Now there's another one. The REST API is a bit tricky because if you use software, for example, to manage your finances, this could cause problems while they are trying to add your orders to their back office and anything. So leave it on default access if you are using that kind of systems that are using your website to get stuff. Or press restrict access if you don't know what I'm talking about and you think like, well, there's nothing integrated with my website. So press restricted access is the most safest way. But if you encounter problems in the future, this is the function you first want to turn on again, and also the XML RPC. Users, they can log in with their email address and username, or only the email address or username. It's completely up to you. Force a unique nickname, that would be very useful, and disable extra user archives. I always turn this on because it is so annoying when you have different users on your website or your own and you have no posts at all, and they can actually get the page where it says the author page of you. When you have no posts, it is not logical, so we're going to disable this and we press save. And then the last advanced feature that I completely like and I enjoy is the hide backend feature. It is unique to iThemes security. Other plugins don't have this. So we press hide backend and we're going to change the login slug because WP admin is the most common way to log into a WordPress website. Everybody knows that in the world, even the hackers. So you want to change this to something else. We're going to change this to, well, let's say WordPress login secure page. For example, it is enormous long, and if someone can guess this, then I would be impressed. Just change this to anything you would like, but never forget it, because if you forget it, you cannot log into your WordPress website anymore unless you change this again by disabling iThemes security using your FTP program. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then write this down, mail it to yourself or whatever, because if you forget it, you cannot enter your website again except by changing some other things. So just copy this and save it in a safe, secure place. All right, then we need to enable the redirection so people will get redirected to a page. I usually use a page like not a change, dude. And then I create a different page where people see this and they're like, oh, this guy has actually secured your website. Well done. When you have done all this, then press save. And now we have completed all our settings with iThemes security. However, there are a few things you still have to do. Always check your updates, dashboard updates. Your WordPress website has to be completely up to date. If you see this current version, latest version, all plugins up to date, all themes are up to date. That is awesome. Then good job. Then trying to hack you using this way is pretty much impossible. Always keep that in mind. The security of your website has to do with a couple of things: password security, two-factor authentication, your hosting company, your updated website. Keep it all updated. Make sure you got a good hosting company. If you're still looking for someone, there is a link in the description. Now, if I now go to my user and I press logout, and now we're going to set up two-factor authentication. So go to your new login URL and just log in with your credentials. As you do that, this is what we see. Set up your two-factor, press continue. Use your mobile app, press on the arrow right here. And then when you choose your device, I have a iOS. Then you open your authentication app. I always use the Google Authenticator app because I use it with a lot of services from Google and for other websites and for my hosting and for everything. And then you're going to scan this QR code with your mobile phone. When you have scanned it, you will receive a code. So press continue. Now we have to enter this authentication code. Be quick, because this one refreshes every 30 seconds. Press verify. And now we are enabled. This is great. Our mobile app two-factor authentication has been enabled. Now you can press skip. And now when I try to log in, I have to enter my authentication code. So this is where you get your app with all the codes on your mobile phone. And we're just going to enter the code, which is on my phone, and press authenticate. When I press this, now I can log in easily. So if you ever lose your mobile phone, then you have a little bit of a problem. So you better make a backup of your phone on your computer. So when you've lost your phone, you can always place it back on a new phone, and then you can log in your website again. Is two-factor authentication the best way to secure your WordPress website? Well, yes, it is definitely very useful, and I would really recommend it to add it to your websites, because this makes guessing your password and even logging into your website, if you have the password, pretty much impossible, because you always need this little thing to log into your WordPress website. If this was useful for you, hit that like button so I know we were on the right track. And if you want to know how to create a WordPress website, check this video out, because it will really change the way you are building your websites. I wish you an awesome day.